You know how Netflix just knows what you'll want to watch next? Or how your bank can spot a bogus charge on your card in like a split second? Well, that's machine learning. It's this invisible engine that's pretty much become the architect of our modern world. And it's not some sci-fi thing anymore. It's right there on your phone, in our hospitals, everywhere. So yeah, let's get into it.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with how this stuff completely flips the script on what programming even means. Then we'll look at the different ways these machines actually learn. After that, we'll see where it's showing up in your day-to-day life, tackle some of the really tricky ethical questions, and finally peek into what our shared future with this tech looks like.
All right, first up, a new way to program. And I'm not talking about a simple software update here. This is a massive, fundamental shift in how we tell computers what to do. Okay, think about it like this. Traditional programming is like giving someone a super detailed recipe. You write out every single step. Preheat the oven to 350, mix 2 cups of flour, stir for exactly 2 minutes. You give it the rules. With machine learning, you don't give it the recipe. You just show it 10,000 pictures of perfect cakes and say, figure it out, make something that looks like this. The machine learns the patterns and creates its own rules instead of just following ours. Which brings us to the next big question. How in the world do machines actually learn? Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. We can kind of break it down into 3 main styles. So the 3 main flavors are supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. And the biggest difference between them really just boils down to the kind of data they get and what they're supposed to do with it. Let's break each one down real quick. First, you've got supervised learning. This is the one you see the most. Basically, we give the machine a giant dataset where everything is neatly labeled with the right answer. It's kind of like giving a student a huge stack of flashcards with the questions on the front and the answers on the back. The whole point is for it to learn the connections so well that it can start getting answers right for questions it's never seen before. And you see this everywhere. That spam filter in your inbox, that's a classic classification problem. It's learned from millions of examples of what's spam and what's not spam. Or when a website tries to predict a house price, that's called regression. It's just predicting a number based on tons of past examples. See, it's all about making a prediction based on data that already has the answers. Next, we have unsupervised learning. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We give the machine a huge pile of data, but this time, there are no labels, no answer key. It's the machine's job to just find interesting patterns on its own. It's like we've hired a detective, dumped a box of random clues on their desk and said, find the connections, but we haven't even told them who the suspect is. And this is super powerful for finding things we humans might totally miss. A company could use it to automatically sort its customers into different groups based on how they shop, which is huge for marketing. It's all about finding order in chaos. And finally, there's reinforcement learning. This one's a whole different ballgame. You have an AI called an agent, and you just drop it into a virtual environment. It learns by trial and error. If it does something that gets it closer to its goal, it gets a little reward. If it messes up, it gets a penalty. It's almost exactly like training a dog with treats and a firm no. This is the tech behind some of the most mind-blowing stuff you hear about. You know, when an AI be the world's best Go player, that was reinforcement learning. It had basically played against itself millions and millions of times, learning which moves lead to a win, the ultimate reward. It's also the secret sauce for training robots and self-driving cars. Okay, so that's the theory. But let's get real. Where does this stuff actually pop up in your life? Turns out, it's pretty much everywhere, from your pocket to the operating room. You're bumping into machine learning all day, every day. Every time Spotify serves you up a Discover Weekly playlist that's freakishly good, or Amazon suggests a product you were literally just thinking about, that's a machine learning algorithm doing its thing. It's learned your tastes and is trying to guess what you'll love next. In the world of finance, ML is like a silent bodyguard for your money. It's constantly scanning millions of transactions, looking for weird patterns that scream fraud. It learns what your normal spending habits look like, so it can instantly flag something that's out of character, often stopping a problem before you even know it's happening. But honestly, its biggest impact might be in healthcare. We've got ML models now that can look at medical scans like X-rays and MRIs and spot signs of diseases, sometimes with accuracy that's even better than a human expert. It's literally helping to save lives by catching things earlier and more accurately. But for as powerful and amazing as all this is, it's not a magic wand. And its rapid rise means we have to stop and confront some pretty serious ethical problems. We've got to ask the hard questions. So here's the thing you absolutely have to remember. An AI is just a mirror.
It learns from whatever data we feed it. So if the data we give it is full of our own human biases, say from decades of unfair hiring practices, well, the AI is going to learn those biases too. And what's worse, it can actually make them stronger, creating these bias systems that seem fair just because a computer made the decision. And then you've got this other spooky thing called the black box problem. With some of the really complicated models, they can give you a super accurate answer, like, say, denying someone a loan. But we literally can't see why. The internal logic is so complex, it's hidden from us inside a black box.
And that leads to a really uncomfortable question, right? If an AI tells a doctor to use a certain treatment, but nobody, not even the people who built the AI, can explain the reasoning, should we trust it? When you're talking about life and death or someone's freedom, just saying the computer said so is not a good enough answer.
So, where does this all leave us? What's the future going to look like? Well, the healthiest way to think about it probably isn't human versus machine. It's more like human plus machine. It's about augmentation, not competition.
At the end of the day, machine learning is a tool, an incredibly powerful one for sure. It's amazing at finding tiny patterns in huge amounts of data, stuff we'd never see. But we humans are still the champions of things like common sense, creativity, and ethics. The real magic, the real future is going to come from combining those strengths. It's about us using this new intelligence to extend our own, to solve problems we never could before. Thanks for watching.